Hello everybody, this is Toys R Us, and for this special figure showcase we're going to be looking at a very popular toy and of course popular character. This is Powermaster Optimus Prime. What we're going to do with this video, we're going to have a quick look at him in all of his modes, then you can decide how you want to display him. I'll show you all the accessories that come with him. I'll point out a few things that you need to be aware of if you have to purchase in one for yourself, and as I'm lucky enough to have a couple of the boxes, we can have a look at the artwork and the battle scenes on the back of that. Before we get started, I just want to dedicate and give a big shout out to another fellow YouTuber called Vector Sigma. He also does some reviews as well, and of course I want you guys to check out his channel as well. So this is especially for Vector Sigma. Thanks very much guys. Let's get started. So as I've mentioned, he is of course a very popular character. I think any time Optimus Prime was, incarnated or they made a figure, everybody had him and everybody wanted him, and there's no dissimilarities with this. So this guy, he's known as Powermaster Optimus Prime, and he came out in 1988 as part of Series 5 of the wave of Generation 1 Transformer figures. So he had 3 modes, which you can see. I've pretty much got them there, but I'm going to move them around in a second to give you an idea of what exactly they were. But of course the big difference with this and the original was the fact that you could combine, which still transform him with his actual trailer, because this is the front of the cab. There is the robot for the front of the cab, and of course that looks pretty much very similar to the original Generation 1 release. The only major difference is, of course, it is now all plastic, but you've got the typical, as I say, and I actually think obviously it looks a lot more cartoon accurate, but it is of course all plastic. It still suffers with minimal articulation, so you've just got movement at the elbow bicep joints there. The shoulders don't do anything, that's just where they fold in, and the same with the legs, but unfortunately as well the legs are actually joined at the bottom as well. But that's, as I say, the main cab, and that's what he looks like. While we're here, we might as well point out the accessories that are with him. So we've got High Q, which was his Powermaster. Is it going to focus? I'll bring him a bit closer. There we go, which is his Powermaster engine. That's it, the light's on it. Unfortunately, it's dark here in the UK. And of course, with this, the same thing that happened with most of the little engines, whether they're Headmasters or Target Masters or whatever, the arms were very susceptible to damage, same with the legs, so keep an eye out for that. He had 2 of these large blasters. This one's got a bit of sun fading on it as well, in fact, so that's something to be aware of. And he also had 2 of these blasters, and as well as the larger head, which was there. And funnily enough, you didn't have to have the trailer, I'll show you that in a second, all powered up. But the best thing, of course, about this was exactly what you can see right in front of you. I'm going to bring this a little bit further forward. Of course, the mega negative you'll be able to see with this is it just lacks pretty much all articulation. It's a very imposing figure, but it's actually not very poseable. So you can move the arms up and down, like so. That's about it. You can turn the guns as to how you want them, which is obviously pretty cool. And the funny thing is that although the Powermaster engine is there, you don't actually need him to be there. There is a teeny bit of movement there, but it doesn't really, warrant much talking about, because it just means you're going to stand him like that, and he doesn't balance either. So it's not actually that useful, but he's such a big figure, and he's just, again, I remember having this as a kid, and I absolutely loved him. He was just, again, it was a big step up. What I will quickly, but I'm not going to talk too much about it, he did have a Japanese counterpart, but they actually changed the name, and they changed the name to Ginrai, and there's a couple of differences. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I'm going to give them their own video. So the main difference was, if I hold this up and you can see that they had chrome legs, whereas he's only got plastic. Chrome smokestacks as well, and as I say, he was pretty much a separate character, but I'm going to do Ginrai's and God Ginrai's own video as well coming up, so that's why I'm not going into too much detail about them at all. So let's have a quick look at this guy then. So if I pick him up here, obviously this is just all his trailer attached to the back. One thing to be aware of is this, the connector that you attach to the trailer. This bit is very often damaged and broke, and where you will actually find it a lot of the time, unfortunately, is, and it's not here with this, thank heavens, is in the back of the cab there. So be aware of that. It's so common, it's so commonly broken right there, and that's exactly the reason why I've not attached that there. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to move this guy out of the way for a second. So of course there's the cab, and the funny thing is, of course, if you have a look at this, that's not the front of Optimus Prime. The front, when you transform it, is on the back there. And the way to unlock the legs would be by in there. You're going to push the Powermaster engines. If you haven't got one, you can still get away with just pushing it with your thumb there, and then this will release. He says, there you go, that'll release the legs. So you don't necessarily have to have it. It obviously does help. The smokestacks now, of course, are all plastic and a little bit smaller. But if I bring the trailer in right now, and as I say, that's where you would normally connect it, but I'm not going to for the reasons I've just said. So you can have just literally the standard trailer if you want. You don't have to put any of the weapons on. But if you want to, you can power up the trailer as well as power up actual Optimus Prime. You can attach the two guns at the top there, and then you can attach the two guns either side. So even the trailer looked obviously quite impressive. So there's his trailer mode. I'm going to now just wheel this out of the way a second, and then we've got the final mode, and I suppose it's a bonus mode, and if you've got a trailer you might as well make some use of it. And there it is. It's like a battle station mode. Some people have this forward, some people have it back, some people have it in the air. It just depends how you want to display it. But what I do really like is the fact that when you get high Q and yeah, you make him really big wide stance, you can get him and you can sit him there. So he's in charge of the guns, in charge of the cannons, and of course you can do that with a lot of the Nebulon partners. So that made it into a much more working and usable battle station. Obviously you can see there's a lot of ramps here, so if you are looking to buy one of these and you only see it in the big large robot mode or in the truck mode, you wouldn't necessarily know that all of these ramps are available, especially not in the actual in this, because they're all folded up in here. So if you want to make sure that everything's there, of course you want the pictures in all three of the modes. That will definitely help. Other things to be aware of, because there's so much, as I say, folding out and everything here, some of these hinges, and I've had some horrendous ones in the past, get really gunked up and caked up with muck and dirt and junk. So that's something to be aware of. And same here with the wheels. Obviously there's all metal inside there. They do tend to get a little bit gunked up. This one is actually suffering, unfortunately, from a bit of sun fade. You might be able to tell just by looking at that, and especially on the white bits. I think because obviously he's so well played with, everybody loved him, he often, yeah, just overuse, I think is the best way to describe it. Overuse, but yeah, just fantastic. And he just fit in line brilliantly with all what was going on. There's a few other chrome bits on this, not as much as Ginrai, but again you've got the chrome on the front there to be aware of. The good thing about this one is, and I'm sure you can tell just by looking at it, you can display him in any mode, and he does look really good. Even the trailer, as I say, I know it's just the truck and the trailer, but I think it looks very good. What we'll do now then quickly, we're going to have a quick look at the box and the artwork. So I'm going to move these over, try not to knock over the camera, as you've seen in my bloopers video that I tend to do it quite a bit. So here we go. There is the box. Of course the figures aren't in there, I've took them out especially for this display. There is the brilliant artwork for Powermaster Optimus Prime. There we go, he looks really good. And it's talking there back that he's back with the Powermaster energy, obviously, because unfortunately in the movie he was finished off, wasn't he? So there we go, we've got the powered up truck and trailer, we've got the transformation into the base, sorry, excuse the reflection, and there we've got the transformation of the cab, and of course combining him up into the major Powermaster Optimus Prime. The interesting thing is, and of course this is a year before Victory, while we're talking briefly about Japanese ones, of course this folds up into the middle and it becomes his main chest piece right there, which obviously for those of you, and if you've seen my Victory, my Star Saber video, if you have a look at that, he does exactly the same. So I think that's obviously where they got the idea from. Now moving along here, we've got, to us, as I say, outside of Japan, this is the Pretender and the Powermaster's artwork on the back, and of course there is Powermaster Prime. Here's some of the Pretenders, Skullgrin, Landmine, that looks like Darkwing there, and I'm pretty sure that's Double Dealer, which to be honest I never noticed before, and Submarauder there with Landmine. But the reason why I'm pointing this out is, again, referring to the Japanese market, it was known as the Super God Master Force artwork, which was a cartoon that they were running at the same time in Japan, and that's why he had a different name. That's why he was known as Ginrai. and they had a whole different cartoon by the same name of Super God Master Force running at that particular time. But it's a great piece of artwork. It does look really good. You've obviously got the truck trailer there before he transforms into it. As I said, hugely popular character. Again, I know that Transformers UK Collector and his son Owen absolutely love this figure. So as well as Vector Sigma, this is for you guys as well. So I'm just going to stand these all up now. As I said, I think I've pretty much pointed out all the accessories and everything that come with him. 2 large grey guns. Oh, in fact, that's me just moving that. I mentioned the ramps. They do come off quite easily as well. So if they're missing, or they might be damaged tabs there as well. You saw how easily that fell off with just me moving it. So yeah, there's quite a bit to come with him. The good thing, as I've already said, is you can display him in whichever mode you want. He still looks really good. It just depends, yeah, how you want to display him. Even if you're missing parts, he'll still display very well. So there he is. Again, I had him as a kid. I had a couple of friends who had him when he was a kid, and we all massively loved the upgrade. I don't know if I prefer it now to the original Generation 1, but again, I definitely remembered having so much fun playing with it when I was a child. So for those of you who had it as well, excuse me, I hope it brought back some nice memories for you. For the guys who didn't have it, I hope it, you know, it gave you an idea of what it was like. And for the people who might want to purchase one now, it'll give you an idea of, you know, what to look out for especially. I think because it's such a common figure, it's not as difficult as you'd think to get hold of, to be fair. And of course, with it being plastic, it's more robust than the original die-cast one, and with all the smaller bits, and the fact that you could lose the fists and everything much more easy with the original one. So with this, you know, the fists are, of course, they're already built in, they're just plastic molded on, so it's much easier to get one of these complete than it is to get an original G1 one. So there you go, that might sway you in a way of getting that one first, but there you go. I hope you enjoyed looking at him. I hope it brought back some nice memories, and yeah, I hope it helped you with your decision on whether to get one or not. And of course, everybody, at this current moment, please take care.